this Nintendo 64 controller, the thumbstick, like just about all of them, pretty loose, not awful, still usable, but I would like to replace it. I got two different replacement parts. I have a stock style one that I'm going to try. A little loose, but definitely much less play. Same style. I'm going to be installing this one in this video, and in the next video I have another controller that I will replace the thumbstick on, and on that one I'm going to use the GameCube type thumbstick, which feels a little bit better, but it's a little more expensive. I think these are under $5, and these are a little over $10, $11 for that type of replacement. So to get started, flip the controller over. There are 9 screws that need to be removed. There's 7 down here, and there are 2 that are on either side of the memory card rumble pack connector. So I have a number 1 screwdriver. This is a Japanese industrial standard screwdriver, but a Phillips number 1 will work. I'm going to put all the screws in a plastic cup so I do not lose them. Just go through and remove all of the screws. And while I'm doing the replacement, I'm also going to do a little cleaning. I've got some 70% rubbing alcohol, some Q-tips, and some paper towels. Might as well clean the controller up when it's really easy when it's separated. Get the stuff in the cracks and other things, and also if there were any buttons that aren't working really well, can clean the contact pads with the rubbing alcohol, and that will allow them to work a lot better. So there's those 7 screws out. Now I wonder if I will need a smaller screwdriver. No. So far the number 1 has been working just fine. I'm going to put the 2 other screws in a different cup to keep everything separated, so don't go stick the screws back in the wrong screw hole. Not really a problem with the controller, but now I'm going to stack the cups so the ones on the bottom don't get lost. So have all the screws out. You can now remove the back of the controller. I want to be careful not to lose the left and the right buttons. You can see the Z button back there, and a lot of gross stuff in there that I will clean up after I get the new thumbstick installed. So here's the contact pad for the Z button and the Z button itself, and it's clipped into place. So we're going to want to go ahead and move that, just kind of push the tabs out gently out of the way. And we can move this off. You can also peel it off, and there's the contact pad in there. Let me zoom in. Make sure it's focused. There's a contact pad. It pushes down on there, completes the circuit when the button gets pushed. So any problems with any buttons, just peel that back. Grab a Q-tip. I've got some 70% rubbing alcohol in here. Put a little bit on and can clean it up. You can see a little bit of dirt on the Q-tip, and then that should be fine. So now there's 3 screws that need to be removed to get the thumbstick out. So I've got another empty cup that I will put the screws in. Really don't want to lose screws or drop them on the floor or anything like that. Going to be a pain to find. 3 screws out of the way. I'm going to put them back in the, that was out of focus. Let me zoom back out. 3 screws in the cup, 1, 2, 3, right out of there. And then, so we'll notice that the wire goes around this pad or something like that, and there's a Molex connector there that should be able to slide out. It did take some force to get it out of there. Zoom in again. See, there's the connector. Came right out of there, and the entire assembly just lifts out. And it's got an X on the back. I guess that means no good. So we'll toss that aside. And here is the replacement. So I'm going to flip it over and zip tie it in place and stuff exposed. I'm wondering how durable this is going to be. The other type of connector, or I mean the GameCube style, might be a better choice, even though more money might work better. So got it lined back up, and now I'm just going to do the reverse and begin to put it back together. Oh, and see, there goes one of the buttons. Lost the left thumbstick, or the left shoulder button. Let me zoom out a little bit. This came off. There's just a little peg. There's a little peg that it sits in, and you know, that's simple to put it back into place. So there's one screw. There's the next. So 3 screws, pretty easy, and not over tightening them or anything like that. I don't want to strip out the threads and the plastic that it's going into only so many times. I'm going to be able to do that. And now I'm going to go around, let me zoom in, around this and line everything up. And I believe it should just go in like that. So if we take a look, you can see the metal pins on the connector. These need to be facing down. We can look in, let me change the focus point. You should be able to see the pins, where they are and where they align into that. So just line it up, and will it go in? No, it doesn't want to go in. Now will it? Okay, so a little bit tricky to get it in. What I had to do was I had to make sure the bottom lip, the bottom part of the connector is coming up a little off of the board. I don't know if that happened when I was pulling the connector out or if it's just like that. So need to come in and have it so that the bottom part of the connector fits over that tab down there. So I'm pushing down on the side of the connector with the wires so that it tips the front up a little bit and it will slide into place. And putting some force on there. It's not clicking into place or anything like that, but you know, I think it's in there. I don't want to be too rough with it. I don't want to break it or anything like that, but kind of annoying to get that connector in. Not overly impressed. In the process, I also lost the contact pad. There are two little bumps on there. Let me make sure the camera's focused. Two little bumps right there, and those line up, and we want the black part of the contact pad to go over the contact point. Just like that. That should be good. And then I'm going to snap that. All right, I'm going to snap it into place. Well, that's loose. It's very, very loose. Let's see, where did I put... Okay, so here is the one that I just removed. Is the other one? I'm going to temporarily put that back. All right, and that's also loose, so no change there. Pop that into place. Put contact pad back on. Going to zoom out. The shoulder triggers keep falling off. So I'm going to leave those off actually. And now I'm going to get rid of all this disgusting stuff around the edge of the controller and on the back plate. I'm going to use just, I guess, so I got a spudger or something. I'm going to scrape it off. Gross, 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 gross. Just get all that out there. I mean, might as well. Well, doing the replacement part. Scrape it off, and then I'm going to come back with a paper towel, some rubbing alcohol, and just coat it, and then, well, good enough for me. Now, make sure that the buttons are back in the correct place. They're inverted. So right's on the left and left's on the right. Make sure that they line up with the pads on the shoulder buttons, and then going to carefully put the back over top. Make sure everything is fitting correctly, and it doesn't want to fit. What's getting in the way? And are there any clips? No. No clips. And the button fell off. It's pretty annoying. The buttons like to fall off all the time, so I'm going to guess that it's the difficulty in aligning the other side of the pegs with the holes in the back side of the controller. And out again. Well, this is pretty annoying to put back together. You know, I seemingly have everything lined up, but you know, the controller does not want to line up and go back together. So, I mean, that seems to be right. But this seems off now by quite a bit. There's that, there's that. just trying to get it into place. I wonder what's going on. Can I hold that down? No, it's definitely not lining up. I wonder if it is some kind of problem with the Z button. That rotates up. So it's somewhere over here. I don't see anything that should be getting in the way, unless it is these wires that are sticking out incorrectly, because on this pad they come out here, and on this, are they? So, wow, that's annoying. So, the zip tie is hitting this piece right here. And that won't allow it to close, and it pushes it up over here. So what I'm going to do is go get some scissors or something and try to remove the zip tie. Right in back, got some wire cutters, scissors, a razor. I'm going to try the wire cutters first to just go through and try to get the zip tie off without mangling the wires, or you know, I don't want to bust up any of the solder joints, which just look awful, by the way. Let me zoom in, bring it up. I don't know how all that shows, but the solder joints on this are just terrible. Definitely not impressed with this thumbstick replacement, I gotta say that. So, took that apart, got that out of the way, and now, if I shove this over really far, hopefully now the back plate will actually go onto the controller right there. So, put the thumb or the shoulder button back on, the Z button, very gently kind of slide it into place. I want to make sure that it is aligned, and there we go. It snaps down into place, going back together. So the zip tie was the culprit. Really super not impressed with this replacement thumbstick. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the screws back in, all 9 of them. The 7 larger ones go down here, and the 2 smaller ones go up there. And then after this, I will be disassembling and replacing a different controller with the GameCube style thumbstick, which, I mean, if we look at it, it's got the wires going straight out, so I don't think that we're going to run into any fitment issues where we have to use some wire cutters to remove a zip tie that prevents the controller from being reassembled correctly. So I guess you get what you pay for. I also not crazy about the solder joints on the replacement thumbstick. Feel like those could go bad over time. Well, I guess they won't go bad over time. Well, actually, yeah, if you drop the controller or rough with the controller, I mean, those will break. Also not, just the zip tie got in the way, the solder joints are bad. I would worry about the longevity of the replacement part, to be honest. I mean, there's a lack of quality across the board. So, is this going to quickly you know, wear out if you're playing a Zelda or Smash Brothers or something like that, where you're going to be using a ton of the thumbstick. Definitely not blown away. Would not recommend this one. You know, I guess if you are just looking to save a few bucks or whatever, still. All right, so there's the controller reassembled. I'll go test it and see. I'm lazy, so I don't want to move the camera around. But there'll be another video with what I'm guessing is going to be the far superior thumbstick.